Well, hello. Today I'd like to give you my revisit of the Aurora 88, the modern version. So let's dive into it. All right, so this is the Aurora 88, the modern version. Now this was actually a special edition. I got it mostly because I wanted the flex nib, and it's, orange. Aren't you glad I bought it? So nice clip. Sort of reminds me both of the older version and of, the Pilot Custom 823. This is a piston filler, so this is actually a piston turning knob. One thing I like, we have metal here to protect it if it starts to crack, which unfortunately, let's see if it shows up in this light. It did kind of in here. I have not sent it to Aurora for repairs. I probably should, but I haven't done that yet. Here you can see an ink window, and then the flex nib itself. Their regular nibs are more ornate. And the flex nib is kind of a fine, I suppose. So Aurora calls this a flex nib. Now, is it a flex nib? Well, you'll have to decide. But I did compare it with some other modern flex pens that I own. So I will try to remember to put a link down in the video description. It didn't come off the best of them all. We'll just put that out there. The ink in this one is Lummy Bronze. As far as flex, I don't like to push a pen too far. But I hope here you can see unflexed and flexed. And it is puddling the ink very nicely. So, with flex and no flex. As far as wetness and flow, I think you can tell this is a wet pen. This is a fun pen to use some very shading inks in. Smear test. Whoop! Yeah, it went off the screen. Reverse writing, which you probably would like to see. Kind of an ultra extra fine, not a very good writing experience. And finally, the world famous Peer Gustafson test. There was a skip here, but I think that was my fault. And finally, in these revisits, I like to do a longer form quote. So let's see what H.L. Mencken had to say. So that was my revisit of the Aurora 88 modern version. Mine has the flex nib. And yes, this is a pen paid for with YouTube advertising dollars. So in a way, if you're watching this video, you have helped fund it. Or you're help funding the next expensive pen I buy. Because yeah, this is a pen that's outside my budget. As a teacher, I could justify maybe one of these in a career. Maybe. After everything else is paid for, my life is perfect. So having that YouTube income I set that for the channel, and so I appreciate this opportunity to experience some pens I would probably only dream about for my whole life. So I like it. It's a dream come true. I enjoy the flex nib on it. That, it's not vintage flex, and I know the purists will say that. I'm a vintage collector. Remember that. I like my vintage pens. This is not vintage flex, but it is fun, and that's the important thing. It feels good in the hand. It is well made. That crack in it is a little disturbing, and part of me thinks I should contact Aurora. Part of me is afraid to. I don't know exactly how they would fix it without just putting on a new cap. And do they still have orange caps? And it wouldn't have the special edition number and all that. So I'm kind of, don't know. So maybe if you have some experience with Aurora and how they fix pens, you maybe let me know down in the comments. I think it's a worthy successor to the vintage version. Now, I love my vintage pens, so yeah, I'm never going to say it's as good as the vintage, but it's a good pen in its own right. Piston filler. One weirdness with the piston fillers, it's got a little dimple? Is that the word I want? A little pushy anything in the piston, so that when you run out of ink, you screw down the piston, and then you can write a little bit longer. The feed kind of sticks up to poke into that little dimple thing. I've had people tell me, well, that saved my life more than once. And I'm, okay. I guess I don't, when a pen gets that empty, I'm not carrying it with me, and there's an ink window on it, so I know. So, different strokes for different folks. The bit problem I have with it is it just makes the pen harder to clean out. The nice thing with cleaning out this pen is the nib unit actually screws out. So you can just screw it out, flush it real quick, put it back together. I'm not a fan of the let's get this pen pristinely clean, just like it was when it was new. That's not how I roll with my pen cleaning. I just don't want to see traces of the last ink when I start the next ink. Weird that way. As far as the pocket test, slips on with no problem. This is a pen I could almost use as a daily writer. I like the Lamy 2000 better for that purpose, partly because the Lamy 2000 is a snap cap, not a screw cap. Actually, I don't know if I did this in the writing sample. So a little better than 1 1/4 turns. 1 1/3. So, anyway, hope that was interesting. Hope it was useful. And yeah, I still have it, and I'm glad I do. So we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.